Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is the Alpha Video Game Show where we talk exactly what the title implies. I'm Radford Castro.
I'm Patrick Delahanty.
I'm Father Robert Balliser.
But before we begin with news, let's introduce our guest, Andrew Lee from Lazy Tech Guys.
How's it going?
So Andrew Lee is basically the interactive entertainment editor for Lazy Tech Guys. He's been writing for, what, 2 to 3 years now?
2 years.
2 years? Awesome. So you've been attending stuff like E3, GDC, and stuff like that. Awesome. Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
So let's start at the top and talk about the news. Titanfall is now an exclusive for Xbox 360, PC, and Windows forever. In a conference call to investors, Electronic Arts' Blake Jorgensen just said that Titanfall is, for the life of the title, exclusive to Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PC. So the game is not a timed exclusive to Microsoft platforms. Titanfall's Microsoft exclusivity has been well known since the title has been announced at E3, but it was never definitely said that Respawn Entertainment wouldn't build some version for Sony consoles.
Valve has announced that its Steam platform now has 65 million users, with the last 12 months alone bringing a 30% increase in active accounts. Steam reached its current milestone as Valve prepares to launch Steam Machines, an initiative that aims to bring PC gaming to the living room with dedicated hardware, a platform-specific operating system, and a gaming-optimized controller. Currently, Steam hosts over 3,000 downloadable games from a broad spectrum of publishers and independent developers.
Do you like GTA 5? Well, if you do, you're not alone. You've got plenty of company. In its second quarter 2014 earnings report today, Take-Two revealed that nearly 29 million copies of Grand Theft Auto 5 have been sold. While it's worth noting that this figure refers to units sold to retailers rather than games sold through to consumers, Take-Two noted that the figure has already succeeded in exceeding the lifetime sell-in of Grand Theft Auto 4 on consoles in less than 6 weeks after launch. GTA has grossed over $800 million in retail sales during the first 24 hours after launch and over $1 billion in only 3 days.
Whew. Well, we're just a few weeks away from the launch of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and those new consoles come with some big launches like Call of Duty Ghosts. But we're just learning that buyers of Microsoft and Sony's new hardware won't have the same experience with that game. Mark Greenwood, executive producer at COD developer Infinity Ward, just tweeted the disappointing news that only the PS4 version of Call of Duty Ghosts will run in 1080p. Xbox One buyers will have to be content with upscaled 720p, a decision the developer made to ensure that both games will run at 60 frames per second.
Well, with the PlayStation 4 coming out in a couple of weeks, we've learned a few more things. PlayStation 4 will not allow users to use external hard drives, DLNA, CDs, or MP3s, according to a Q&A on the PlayStation blog. Storage on PS4s will be limited to the next generation machine's 500 gigabytes. Even replacing the internal hard drive limits space, installing another 9.5 millimeter SATA 2 hard disk is possible, but only as long as the space exceeds 160 gigabytes.
Blizzard fans, rejoice. If you're planning on attending BlizzCon, we've got some good news for you. You see, you may have already seen the massive schedule of events that they've got planned. In addition, you may have quietly wondered to yourself how you were going to see absolutely everything while you were there. The bad news is that there's absolutely no way, unless you can divide yourself into multiple copies, that you're going to be able to see every panel. But the good news is that Blizzard is now providing free, that's right, free, as in gratis, as in beer, virtual tickets to all attendees as part of the goodie bags so that you can catch up on any panels you may have missed after the convention is over.
Awesome. Well, hey kids, do you want to look at something stupid this morning? Well, look no further than this juicy slice of video idiocy, courtesy of Battlefield 4 and Axe's Pour, Close, and Smell Juice. Together, Axe and BF4 celebrate men and women working together in the field of conflict the only way they know how, implied boning. So much boning will be going on while shells detonate and comrades bleed from massive wounds all around them. They'll bone so hard that you'll think they were made completely out of bones, like the blood-stained bones jutting out from severed limbs 3 feet away from their banging patch.
Wow. Wait, can we stay here for a second?
Yeah, check out this. You just gotta check out this.
Oh, man.
Okay, yeah.
What?
Wait, what are we talking about again? There was news, right? Okay. Yeah.
Really?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's an
It's an axe commercial.
Sony is expected to make an announcement on November 5th called the Pocket Station. But here's the kicker. It's for the original PlayStation console. Not the PS4, not the PS3. We're talking PS1. This is all according to a teaser video the company released today by someone who accidentally traveled to the future from the year 1995. Originally released in Japan in 1999, the Pocket Station's a memory card microconsole for the original PlayStation console that featured a monochrome LCD, infrared ports, clock, built-in flash memory, 5-face button and audio. The device supported multiplayer functionality via its infrared capabilities, which also allowed users to transfer data, such as game saves, between devices.
Were you freaking out about Microsoft's Kinect One and what it could do with the Kinect sensor? Well, of course you knew it was going to happen. Microsoft would come out with a statement saying that, don't worry about it, we're not going to spy on a thing. Just kidding. Absolutely the opposite. In the Children and Parental Consent tab in the Xbox One privacy statement, Electronic Arts, Exceed Games, and Disney Interactive are listed as third parties that may collect personal information through to the extent which they may, though the extent to which they may do that is unclear. They said you should not expect any level of privacy concerning your use of the live communication features such as voice chat, video, and communications in the live hosted gameplay sessions offered through the services. That was said by a Microsoft representative. The company said it may monitor these communications to the extent permitted by law, but it made clear that it cannot monitor the entire service. In other words, we're probably not going to watch what you're doing.
Awesome. So with all the news going out, we also have some new games that are being released at this time. We have Assassin's Creed 4 coming out, which actually it already did, as well as Battlefield 4. There are a couple of other notables that are showing up, including Castlevania Lords of the Shadow for the PlayStation 3, which actually did already come out because I cannot read. And a couple of these other ones, particularly Killzone, which is going to come out within the next 2 weeks. And you have a couple of ones. I don't know if you guys are interested in Pac-Man, The Ghostly Adventures, or the regular show of Mordecai and the Rigby in 8-Bit Land.
Yes, I'll do that. Yes, thank you. Regular show. I'm down with that.
And then the next following week, we got a couple of, let's see if there's any big titles coming up here. Here we go. Of course, we got Call of Duty Ghosts, Ben 10, Moshi Monsters, and of course, we got XCOM Enemy Within finally showing up, I guess. I'm not sure why this is over here, but it says PC, Xbox 360, and PS3, which it should already have been released. So this site is lying to me. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Show title.
Yeah.
This site is lying to me.
Yeah.
Lies.
But yeah, then there's all the Xbox One and PS4 games that are coming out with the consoles.
Yeah. So you got what? Dead Rising 3. You got Forza, and I think those are the two notables I can think of at the moment. But and then you have that one that's basically like Panzer Dragoon, which I can't remember.
Do you feel? I mean, I know that this happens every cycle or so, where there's a big release and it kind of steps over some other what should be notable releases. But do you feel like GTA 5 just kind of sucked the air out of the room? Like everyone's just that's all they're doing.
Yeah,
they're playing that. Yeah, everything on YouTube.
Which brings us to the next question, which is like, what is everybody playing at the moment right now? So, anyone want to jump on this?
I know I've been binging on BF4 and a little bit of Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing.
It's been crazy. I actually went back, I think, well, you're playing on the PC, right? So I'm right there with you.
All PC gaming.
Yeah. Yep. Same with me. So I've been playing StarCraft 2, but not the latest one. I'm playing Wings of Liberty. I still have to finish that game, so there really isn't much for me. But that's pretty much it. And I know you got some games on the console.
Well, I need to finish StarCraft 2, the first one. I already have the second expansion, but I haven't even gotten to that stuff yet. But lately I've been playing Grand Theft Auto Online. I've been doing some of the GTA 5 stuff, but I like the online just because it's different.
Get to do drive-bys.
And BlizzCon's coming up next weekend, so I haven't played WoW a lot lately, but I really want to play some this weekend just to get back into it.
So you have to practice your addiction.
Yeah. In preparation for BlizzCon.
Got it.
Right.
And I've got The Last of Us sitting at home, but that's waiting for my girlfriend to come back and visit, and we're going to play that together.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Great game. I've gone back to the classics. I am way behind on my gameplay. I really want to get into BioShock Infinite. I know that tells you how far back I go. But in order to prepare for that, I actually went back and played the original games.
Oh, okay.
So finished up System Shock, which I know it's a spiritual successor. BioShock 1, on BioShock 2 now, and then I'm going to be heading into BioShock Infinite.
So you played System Shock 1, did you play System Shock 2?
I know. I think one System Shock game was enough to give me the feel. Yeah, I got the feel. And it's fun. I mean, I've been playing the main machine a lot in the back. I've spent way too many hours bugging Brian when he's supposed to be working playing Metroid and just some games that I missed growing up. So it's been kind of fun going back to 8-bit land. But when I get home, it's time to kill things in high def.
Yeah.
From the
Very
priest,
cool.
says the priest.
Now that we got all of that out of the way, I wanted to bring this into the discussion point because there was some pretty notable news coming out, particularly a lot of debate over, the power of the systems, some exclusives, some games that used to be exclusive, but now they're kind of spread around. Like Kingdom Hearts 3 is now for everything, and now we have Titanfall that is now exclusive to Xbox 360 and Xbox One, and all the, I guess, pretty much the Microsoft platform. And then you have this whole 720p, 1080p debate going on with Call of Duty Ghosts, which is kind of like been the thing right now between like these gamer wars between the two systems. But and then I guess after that we'll probably finish off with BlizzCon. So let's start with the whole Call of Duty upscaled 720p by 1080p thing. I don't know how far you guys have been following that story, but there's been just a large debate over. Does this really matter whether we're in the next generation right now, and should all these games right off the bat should be running at 1080p, or does it matter right now? We just need this game coming out right now because it's multi-platform.
This is always a problem anytime you want to develop a game that's going to hit multiple platforms. I mean, sure, you could develop for one platform, make it absolutely, it's got the best graphics, it's got the best sounds, the most immersive experience you can possibly create, but then you're really, really risking not being able to sell it anywhere else. And so what these game developers actually have to do is they have to design for the lowest common denominator, and then they can add on whenever they want to move it up to 1080 or they want to increase the frame rate. And monetarily, that's the better way for them to do it. When they sell a game, they have to sell it to as wide an audience as possible. So, regardless of whether or not this is the best way to do it, this is how it's going to happen. Until we all have platforms that perform exactly the same, this is how it's going to work for the foreseeable future.
Here's the weird thing about that, though, because of the fact that now we're in this weird realm where these systems are now cut off like backward compatibility, right? And we're all running on x86 architecture. So it almost seems like they should be able to do that off the bat. We're talking about architecture that's as close to the PC as we could get.
Right.
Coming to the console. So I don't know if this is sort of an excuse or anything, or is this just more cannon fodder for for media to get into and just start, getting the whole crowd, the gaming community stirred up to get to watch, to read these websites and check out these videos on how people think about this war, or so-called war.
One thing I wanted to say is I definitely agree with you on that as far as, you have to optimize it for the different markets that you're covering. But when you're thinking next gen, most gamers are thinking we should have the best graphics possible. Understandably, Call of Duty has that reputation of running 60 frames per second, every time. But again, the question comes out to, is it full 1080p? We should be getting full 1080p with, much of the electronic industry pushing that as the pinnacle of high definition right now. I mean, people are already talking about 2K, 4K televisions already, which are not even set up for consumers yet. So, I mean, it's a big deal, but, it comes down to, the companies for the most part.
Okay, but let me ask you this. I mean, so think about a game that you've played that came out in 720. So I don't know how much COD you've been playing, but does the fact that it's not true 1080p, not true high definition, detract from the fact that it was just fun to play? It was an immersive experience.
Yeah, it might be just more likely it's going to be down to a personal preference.
Exactly. I mean, it really only matters to people who are doing screen caps or people who are looking at the scenery. If you're playing the game, honestly, if you're into it, and unless you're sitting in front of a huge monitor, there's not a big difference between 720 and 1080.
It's funny that you say that.
Keep in mind, though, like even the Call of Duties on the previous consoles, they weren't even running at full 720p. It was like
640.
Dithered.
Yeah, dithered.
And maybe
noise.
Maybe it's because I'm older, and I mean I've got a decent TV. It does 1080, but I can't really tell that much difference. Maybe because my eyes are bad.
But in the early game of your gaming, I mean, your TV was just a candle behind the screen, and people were doing finger puppets.
Well, I had to adjust the rabbit ears.
So
and
that's
then,
the high def. That was super high def.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
That's crazy. Yeah, might as well use no more components, right? HDMI straight through.
It's really, I mean, look, I get it. If you buy a next generation console, you want that showcase game.
That's the expectation.
This is awesome. Look at this. I can see the blades of grass. But when it comes down to it, if you're playing it, a good game's going to be a good game, regardless of it being 720 or 1080.
Which leads us to the next thing. Now, a couple of things have been released from both camps, from both the Microsoft and Sony camps, regarding some of the details about the consoles. So on the PS4 side, Sony actually released a FAQ on their website regarding what you can or can't do on the console. Particularly, one of the things that were noticeable were not being able to play CDs, not run MP3s, missing DLNA, and a couple of other things. But so there's been like a half and half sort of thing in the community, in the gaming community, over what's regarded as something that's significant or not so significant. But and then on the other side, you have the Xbox One just releasing their document regarding privacy with Kinect. Now, just looking at both sides from it, because I plan to get both systems, it almost seems like it really is now becoming more of a business for both sides. Because before it used to be a lot of spec wars, and now they're just really getting down to the gritty of, look, we got all of these pre-sales coming in now. We're locking down these numbers, and it appears now that they're ready to start releasing a little bit more detail as people are locking down these systems on pre-sale. So, but from a gamer's perspective, I mean, what do you think now? How do you feel? Does this change the way people look at the PS4? Do you think people are going to be, holding back a little bit on launch day, or maybe waiting a little bit more, that they're hoping that maybe a new patch will come out, or they're just gonna it's $400, let's go for this thing?
No, I don't think it's going to make any difference, especially for the people that are either on Team Sony or Team Microsoft. I think they're just going to use the stuff about the other console to say, oh, look, that's a problem. But I mean, CD on a PS4, I haven't used a compact disc in months, and that was in my car. I'm not going to try to put it in my... I've never tried to put one in a PS3 or my PS2. I did DVDs in the PS2. I still do Blu-ray in the PS3. But CD, whatever.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
If I have a CD, I'll put it in my Mac and rip it.
Look, I mean, we know how this works, right? I mean, the spec war, you try to show how your console dominates the competition. We've got X amount of shaders and this much power, blah, 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 blah. And then everything else trickles in. Okay, these are the restrictions that we had to put in. In other words, otherwise publishers wouldn't publish games on our console. We want you to be able to play all your media, but at the same time, we don't want to get sued out of existence by every content company. And so here are the concessions we made to the copyright owners. We expect that. That's sort of par for the course, not just for consoles, but pretty much any device that's released to the consumer market today. So in the end, I think people are used to that. Right?
Right.
If you were going to buy a PS4 before, you're still going to buy a PS4.
Pretty much,
if you were going to buy an Xbox One and you heard about Microsoft saying, yeah, okay, we can't guarantee you privacy while you're using our service, you're still going to buy it.
Yeah.
It's that minuscule percentage of gamers who will be crazy vocal about this, who are saying, well, I'm boycotting, I'm not going to buy, and they'll probably get one in the end.
Yes.
Because, again, I know this is going to be cliche, but it's going to come down to
the games.
To the games. If they've got the game that you want to play, you're gonna buy that console, and as long as that game works the way it was supposed to work, you don't care about anything else.
Oh, we have such a mature roundtable here.
Yep.
But no. Wait, hold on. Wait. That's it, man. The PS4 is going down. This thing's gonna burn.
No, Xbox is smelly.
No, Xbox is great. And then we need the one person that says, no, the only real gamers play on PCs.
Oh, and then someone has to come out, Wii U people. Wii, what are you talking about?
I know.
What are you talking about?
Okay, look, this is the future of gaming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you'll all be coming back when Smash Brothers comes here.
Okay, we just got that out.
Yeah.
Cleansing.
But yeah, so, I mean, aside from all those things, I mean, a lot of this stuff really is kind of, like you said, par for the course. Part of it, I think, now is the fact that, as people are getting used to it, it's just now becoming a business and people are just getting used to it. Yeah. Like Sony now just are starting to charge to play multiplayer, and that's natural for Xbox players. So now it's like, there really is that much difference. Even the architectures are almost the same. So the only thing I think the differentiation now, I think, is going to be in the services. So, what's Xbox Live going to provide, and what's like PlayStation going to provide in terms of, are they going to provide some more free games? Are we going to start seeing more free material? Are we going to see some more value coming from those services? And I think that's where going to be the real money's going to come.
That's a really good correlate, because go back to when Xbox Live first came out, because they were the first of the consoles to offer a paid online component. And previously it had been, well, there are weird ways that you could combine some consoles and da-da-da-da.
Yep.
And people didn't know if the Microsoft approach was going to pay off because they said, wait, are people going to pay to play online? But then Microsoft provided a really good experience. And remember, after Live, Sony came out and said, well, our community's free.
Right.
But because it was free, they could never give it the support that it required.
Right.
And people are now saying, I'm willing to pay a little bit to get that better experience.
Hence PlayStation Plus.
Hence the PlayStation Plus.
Right. Well, they tried to do the same thing with PlayStation Home. They were trying to, like, here was, play Xbox with their avatars and their live accounts and all this other stuff. And then Sony was coming out with some of their own, answers for those sort of type of solutions. And they're starting to work out. And then they had their bungle with the PlayStation Network getting hacked into and things like that. So, I mean, over time, Sony just learned so much from the PS3, like launching at a high price, not being ready, having to patch their controllers back, having to bring back vibration back to the controllers, as well as providing trophies. So they were playing catch up at that time. But now that they're there, they got everything, just all their ducks in order.
I was gonna say, don't forget launch titles too. Remember?
Yeah. Because people actually like to play games. On their consoles.
When the PS4 comes out, one of the first things I want to check out is that online experience with the PlayStation community. See how they've fixed it.
Yeah.
And I hope they fixed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to see more interaction. I'm hoping to see more, like in terms of the party system and how you create a multiplayer session and be able to invite people from whatever game they're already playing.
I want to throw out this question.
Okay.
Did Microsoft nail it with their online experience, with the achievements, with the ease of connection?
Right.
Because, I mean, it looks like as Sony's getting closer and closer to a successful system, it looks really, really close to the Microsoft system.
Yeah. Well, they had to. They had to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, during that time, you had Robbie Bach and Jay Allard on Xbox, and they had that vision already. And then Sony was just catching up because purely Sony was just a hardware, manufacturer, and they were getting into the software business. They didn't know anything about networking. They bought Gaikai, for $400 million to get into the mix. So they're just learning this whole thing, and now they got the right players in place, and it's starting to work out for them, and they have the momentum on their side now in terms of the pre-sales. Right. So,
but I mean, some people were saying, "Oh, but Microsoft's okay, but when Sony gets their act together, it's gonna leapfrog what Microsoft has." And it's like,
dude, this is the preseason. The freaking we're not even started yet.
I know.
Everyone's talking about the Super Bowl,
launch, but long term, it's anyone's game.
I know.
Pretty much even
all I know is that the Niners look really good for the 2017 Super Bowl.
Me too. They did pretty good at London.
The Cubs in 2015.
The Cubs in 2015. That's so.
Welcome to This Week in Sports. It's awesome. So aside from that, we want to give a little bit of love outside of the console arena and talk a little bit about BlizzCon. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. We actually had, an audience member that was sitting here at TWiT, hanging out at the iPad today. He was the CIO of Blizzard, and he was
what?
like, hey, yeah. So Robert Van,
and we let him leave.
We were trying to catch him. He gave us free beta codes.
Awesome.
Yeah, free beta codes for Hearthstone.
TWiT? We've got the CIO of Blizzard in there.
Yeah, he was just hanging out. He was just like, hey, you want to visit the offices? We're gonna, I could give you a tour, and I can. I was like, can you hook us up with some BlizzCon tickets?
Located again?
Southern California.
Yeah,
they're in SoCal?
They're fine.
Yeah.
Can we go down there?
Yeah. He said set up a date, 2 weeks.
Oh, that's totally good.
So if you're hearing this, Robert, we're gonna hold that to you.
We're coming down.
So.
We're coming down.
But I've been to every BlizzCon except the first one. And I'm not going to this one just because I couldn't get tickets. It's killing me.
It's funny, what?
I loved being there. Seeing the Foo Fighters live, getting to try out all the games.
Right.
Hold on. So it's too bad that we don't know anyone who might be highly connected over at Blizzard who maybe could get Patrick into BlizzCon.
Well, all of us.
Like maybe
a lot of conventions,
Robert.
But BlizzCon's one of my favorites.
Radford.
I do have the virtual pass, and anybody can go in and get the virtual pass so they can watch the presentations, the tournaments, and all the programming.
But so how do you stuff your swag bag with free stuff if it's a virtual pass?
You start getting a rucksack
with your costume. Like, how are you doing?
Exactly.
I'll just be wearing my costume at my house.
That would be so sad. We could have a live stream of Patrick just sitting in the studio in his costume, just like.
Yeah. Last year I was dressed as a level 7 Worgen priest.
I'm always dressed as a level 7 priest.
What?
With or without the inventory.
But what do you guys think is going to come out They always do big announcements of some kind at BlizzCon. Any speculation as to...
Okay, so we already know about the expansion packs.
Yeah,
but
there's a Diablo 3 expansion. That's probably going to have some sort of beta.
Right.
It's pretty much a given that StarCraft 2, the
Protoss
Legacy of the
side,
Void.
right?
Yeah, Legacy of the Void. They got to have something for that.
Right.
And they usually have tons of PCs set up for playtest. And
did they already make an announcement with in regards to another WoW expansion?
No. It's
Okay.
been that's silent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they had Mist of Pandaria 2 years ago that came out, and then nothing. Radio
Because
silence.
Blizzard's always about 3, right? So Warcraft up to 3, WoW with 3. Wait,
Actually,
This is 4.
I know there's 4. Oh, excuse me. So they're going to go for 5,
This
right?
could be a 5th expansion if they announce another one. They have to announce something.
Excuse me, I
with WoW.
can't count.
A new IP.
Yeah, maybe they'll. Well, that's Titan,
Right.
The Titan project. Maybe there'll be something. I hope there'll finally be something with that because that's been a long time. But yeah, do you think there'll be another WoW expansion? Maybe Emerald Dream, or maybe
What
just
do
a
you
whole.
do after Mists of Pandaria now? That's like the expansion where someone can switch sides now.
Or I know WoW
Between-
is hurting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the #1 out there, but it's hurting. And will there be some sort of game changer to bring people back?
I have a speculation about this conference. I believe Anthony's got this video queued up. I speculate that at some point during the conference, someone will stand up during a question and answer session and say something almost exactly like this.
Sorry.
That's what we switch.
I just finished reading The Shattering yesterday, and I noticed something. It said that Falstad Wildhammer was going to be on the Council of Three Hammers, but in the beta it's Kurdran Wildhammer, and Falstad is not in the game at all. What happened to him?
Okay, that's it.
Isn't Falstad dead
Oh, man.
from Day of the Dragon? No?
No, he survived, and in fact, he was the leader of Airy Peak in Vanilla WoW through Wrath of the Lich King.
I've seen that guy.
Zelhatchik, that was you in disguise, was it not?
No, but that guy has become legend, and he's actually in the game now.
He's in the game?
They have a character in the game with a red shirt, and it's I forget, but it's something about fact checker or something.
So it's, wait,
Man.
Yeah, he's. And
is that what like part of the game
I am
now?
fact
If you
man.
can stump the designers, they put you in the game.
I
I would
it's been
go
a
for
while,
that.
but I forget how he's connected, but he's in there as
That's
a
awesome.
fact checker.
I like
Hey,
and-
Patrick. Yeah, they're going to bring Herod back.
Bring hair on that. That's
That's your
awesome.
BlizzCon speculation.
Yeah, great. Oh, man. Well,
I hope
thanks,
there's more
guys.
of that.
So I want to get right into probably our first and only review game of the day. I'm going to skip the old school game of the week. But actually, if you have that queued up, do you actually do you have that queued up, Anthony?
I just closed it because you said you're
You
good.
did? Damn it.
Oh!
Okay, go ahead. Put it on.
All right, 1 second.
Put it on. So let's reveal this to the chat room real quick and see if they've seen this before. I should have it right on timeline.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Can you guys? Do you
I
guys know
love
what this is?
game.
I actually
All
know
right,
the
let's
theme
wait
song.
for it. Let's see
Oh
if the chat room knows what this is.
God.
So much.
All right, no
time
one say a
playing this.
word.
I'm just saying how much I love this.
I
No
got
one
it.
say a word.
Come on,
Oh,
chat
this is
room.
Be hilarious.
Come on,
This is
chat
actually
room.
near the ending. Someone called it out.
Damn it.
Yeah, Ultima 5.
That's terrible. I actually have the theme song stuck in my head now. Thanks, guys.
I know.
I remember you had to play Stones on the harpsichord.
Oh, God.
You know how many hours we wasted on those games?
Yeah. And there were how many
I-
Ultimas?
After Ultima,
Too many.
before Ultima 5 came out, I was at Apple Fest in Boston, at the Apple II convention, and Lord British was there, Richard Garriott, and so I talked to him. I told him how much I loved Ultima 4, and he was telling me some of the stuff coming out in Ultima 5, which I don't think had been announced, or at least the stuff hadn't been announced at the time. But like, oh, there's this big cataclysm, and it's going to change oceans into deserts and deserts into ocean. And I was like, wow.
We're going to call it
I was
global
in
warming. Isn't
grade
that
school at the
crazy?
Well, I had a pretty good story about this, meeting Lord British, but it was online when he launched Ultima Online.
Oh, I was in the beta for that.
You're in beta, yeah. So I was also, it was already past its beta, but you know how people would have to go to Lord British to get their quests, right? And at that time, you would have to get your quests, so it would be mounds and mounds of people just waiting to get the next point A to point B, mission to do, and someone killed Lord British in the game. So you just had a bunch of people on the server just waiting to patch up the game before we could play again. And I thought, well, I think I'm not going to be playing this game for at least a week until they patch this thing up.
I was always more into the King Quest series.
Yeah.
That was my.
Were you a
drug
Sierra
of choice.
guy?
Games,
Yeah,
Space
I was a
Quest.
Sierra guy.
Man.
I didn't ever got into the Space Quest thing. And you know what? I know this is kind of sacrilege, but I played like one Leisure Suit Larry game, and then I was kind of done with it.
I got into the Quest for Glory series.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Quest for Glory is awesome.
Now, if people want to see Lord British die, there's an episode of Game On where they actually showed a clip of that. And, so go look that up. Twit.tv/GO.
G.O. man, how
I
long?
forget
Is...
which episode it was.
Go.
but you can find it.
Do it
It's nothing
now.
we need to look through.
Awesome, and with
Too
that,
With that,
let's get into the game reviews. Andrew, I know you've been checking out a couple of games, but there was one game in particular that I was kind of hooked with yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't let it out of my grip until after an hour in.
Yeah, I had to kick you off my laptop.
Yeah, and kick me out of my own office.
Yep.
So, but let's check out Battlefield 4, and I know this is something that just came out.
Okay.
And this is something that I've been really excited to pick up probably today.
Oh, okay.
And put on my PC. So why don't we just go ahead and get this started right here? I wanted to run a couple of stuff on your computer.
You want me to run one of those
Yeah,
videos?
run.
Oh, okay.
Run a couple of games.
Oh, okay.
Here you go.
All right.
Do we have a feed?
Yes,
Oh,
we
there
do.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little choppy. I actually recorded
So
it
tell
this
us
morning.
more about like the single player.
Single player is actually surprisingly different from the experience that I went through for Battlefield 3. It's got a little more in depth with the details as far as like the story. Sort of, you're not jumping in between different story portions of the timeline. Like it's all in sort of chronological order. It's centered around a sort of the aftermath of Battlefield 3, where there's been an ongoing conflict between U.S. and Russian forces. But basically, the new player in the mix of it is the Chinese. And basically, there's a plot that centers on the president being assassinated and having the U.S. blamed for it. So your squad's pretty much caught in the middle of an ongoing plot to sort of get themselves out of it.
Now,
for the most
this
part.
video looks very. I mean, it looks amazing.
Yeah, this is multiplayer. So it's
No, I want you to tell the audience, like, basically, what your settings are at, because playing at this level, when I was now right now we're watching a video, and it's kind of scrunched, and so it's a little bit skewed. And then when I play in my office, I'm playing obviously in full screen, and it's 1080p. But let the audience know what settings you're running this thing on.
I'm running everything on low.
On
just
low.
to maintain the frame rate, but I'm running at 1080.
So what kind of
1920 by
specs is your computer at right now in terms of
Um,
running this at this frame rate?
Well, I'm running a second gen i7 with 12 gigs of RAM and a GTX 560M.
Wow. It's very clean. I mean, like, in the first hours playing, I don't know if everyone got it, nobody got a chance to see, I guess, the gameplay video when they first announced Battlefield 4,
Yeah.
but to actually play the experience versus just watching was just a whole different experience. So, yeah, that convinced me, like, I had to get it now versus getting it 2 weeks later.
Okay. Well, I mean, just to answer the question, I mean, the single player experience, yeah, it's short. Battlefield's always been a multiplayer type of thing, but I mean, it's a lot better. It's, like I said, you're not really jumping around different characters, different time zones. It's just one continuous story. So it's not bad, but yeah, Battlefield's more of a multiplayer thing. That's what they pretty much do best on.
This is awesome, man. So what exactly? I know this is a little bit smaller, but how do you feel about the rest of the visual display? What's the look and feel like, and how are the weapons now in Battlefield 4 versus Battlefield 3?
Well, there's a lot of weaponry balancing. That DICE feels like DICE has learned a lot from a lot of the feedback from players, from all the different patching and all the different expansions that have came out. Also, visually, I know it kind of looks similar to BF3. You can kind of see that in the texturing, kind of like a lot of the things that are sort of set up with the UI. Honestly, I'm pretty sure they didn't want to change too much, just so people won't have to get used to it really quick. Not too quickly, but too long to get used to it. But it's definitely a different game altogether. I mean, you can just kind of see that with the texturing and whatnot, even at these low settings.
Do you have a video where you're actually there's a map, a multiplayer map that you're playing in, and in the map, you were actually at the top of the building, just shooting away. And when you just felt like it, I'm just gonna jump off the building. I jumped, and then you just shoot it like maybe about 30 feet right before you landed. It was actually a pretty amazing looking experience, and I wanted to experience that once. But even from just a single player point of view, when playing that game, I felt like I kind of had that visceral feeling that I had from 3, except maybe several notches.
Yeah, I kind of got rid of that, unfortunately, because it wasn't the best video I did. Yeah, I know it's kind of different seeing it on video and actually playing it, but
yeah, this looks really good. Oh, is this another part of the game that I played in?
This is just I made a mistake there. But this is just basically the close quarters domination mode. So there's no vehicles whatsoever. It's all close quarters.
So tell us more a little bit about how the weapon system works. Now I noticed that in Battlefield 3, you just had your 2 guns and you just picked up whatever was floating around. Now in 4, you have these little points where you just get the chance to change your loadout, your weapon loadout, as well as a couple of few things and make some minor changes. Can you also customize the weapon itself?
Yeah, the weapons themselves are actually customizable as you progress through the multiplayer experience that the game offers. You can actually add different attachments, different camos. You can actually they've actually fixed the system where your foregrip doesn't actually affect your accuracy now. So it's a little more realistic for that extent. So I'm pretty much running ACOG right now just because I can't see that far on the screen.
Are you guys into FPSs, Padre?
I am a...
I know you play a little FPS, right, Patrick?
I prefer it on
Bioshock
with a mouse, so not so much on the console. I'm terrible on the console, but I do have Battlefield 4 pre-ordered for my PS4.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give it a shot.
Are you gonna get that and Killzone too? Killzone's another FPS.
I don't have Killzone reserved. I saw Battlefield.
That's the exclusive.
I wanted to try Battlefield. I saw it, and it's like I need to give this game a shot.
Yeah, we had a couple of people walk into my office as I was playing it and saying, "What is that?" I go, "Battlefield 4, now go away." I just shut the door in their face.
Supposed to be working on Jane.
Yeah.
There was I loved FPSs. That's all I played. And then I hit a point in my life. I don't know how it happened, but I can't play for more than 30 minutes without getting like seasick.
Oh, really?
See, I know a lot of people get that too.
It never used to happen, and since that, like I enjoy playing it, but I know I have to make that trade-off. I'm like, okay, I'll play an hour of this, but then I'm gonna have to go lie down.
That's funny because to me it was that way. It was that way for me. So you remember when Doom came out? It was a 2.5D, sort of game where the walls sort of stayed the same. You can't really look up or down. Then Quake comes out and you can. So I had to adjust to that, and now things are much, much faster. And then you have multiplayer where it's just flurries of people flying around versus just people connected through modem. So, and it was pretty. Every time there was a new FPS coming out, I had to get adjusted. But the biggest change for me was like Half-Life. I think that was like the change for me.
Yeah.
Like when it really paved the way for other FPS type of games like that. So
I was actually going to switch to another video because to answer your question about the customization.
Okay, go for it.
If I kill that really quick, sorry.
Sure.
Basically, this one will actually give you a little more emphasis. This multiplayer actually has its own sort of area where you can kind of play around with the different weapons, different loadouts, and you kind of see how it works out for you as the player. And they have pretty much all the different things you can change on there.
Oh, nice.
What are the system requirements for this game on a PC? Any idea?
I forgot.
You're too busy.
I know based off of my specs, I can hit I'm above minimum, but I'm below required. So I'm
okay.
Oh, you're below the requirements.
Yeah, I'm below requirements, but I'm above minimum.
Okay, well, it's not that far from a Google of BF4 requirements, right?
Yeah. So I mean, you can just plink right here and just kind of get to see how the weapon kind of kicks up or down.
Yeah, I noticed how detailed the game is in terms of your recoil when you're pulling the trigger, in terms of like the kind of even the shot distance and stuff like that. You were telling me during as I was playing that the amount of damage they actually keep. They're even detailed in terms of how damage works between the distance from where you're standing and the person that you're shooting.
Right.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, they basically take into account, for the most part, when you're using your weapon, the farther you shoot at a target, it does lose velocity, so you don't do as much damage. So they have kind of a system worked out, just like in Battlefield 3, where if you reach a certain area, it takes more bullets to drop them.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Got anything else got any cool videos? Do you have any other like single player moments where you've recorded some of these amazing sequences? Or we could just always hold that back so we don't spoil the audience if they're planning to buy this game.
Not for Battlefield.
I know.
Just a random Final Fantasy video, but I'm pretty sure our audience here doesn't want to fall asleep.
The PS4 version came with a code where I've already been sent the code, even though I don't have the game yet, or the console, but it gives me bonus stuff with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Such as...
Yeah, you got the battle packs and stuff like
the
that.
battle pack.
Yeah, basically the way the battle packs work now is as you progress playing it, it gives you random unlocks, some things that can only be unlocked through a battle pack. Now, it's not... A lot of people were assuming, unfortunately, that they're trying to go for that sort of microtransaction type of deal, which, somehow it wouldn't surprise me if they did, but you don't really need them to unlock it. You just keep playing. So...
It's awesome.
And I kind of pulled these stunts because I was like, well, I'm going to be in front of this, so I might as well do something stupid with a keyboard mouse.
You didn't drive through the house? I mean, come
No,
on.
they didn't have any arches. I would have tried doing that. So basically, but yeah, you could do weapon familiarization with your vehicles, with the boats even, and you can actually see the ripples and whatnot. And you actually, on I think Parcel Storm, you actually ride the waves. It actually gets annoying when you're shooting at somebody else.
And what I wanted to do, I was like in my Top Gun suit during Halloween. I wanted to fly like the F-14 Tomcat or something and just, buzz one of the carriers or something just for old time's sake.
Oh.
But
It looks like somebody in the audience
Negative,
wants to see
Castro.
the Final Fantasy 14.
yeah.
Mind you, folks, I can only fly a helicopter. I can't fly the jets. Keyboard mouse.
They have the AC-130 in this game, right?
Yeah, it's a commander feature. Basically,
Okay.
when you're playing commander mode,
Yeah.
if your forces hit control a certain,
So you can vector it
objective,
in.
You can call it in, and players can spot on it and rain support fire onto an objective or group and whatnot. So, but if you guys want, I'll put on the Final Fantasy 14 video.
Awesome. You can
14,
take us out
14.
with that.
Okay. All right,
Really
kick
awesome.
me out really quick.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We appreciate that review of Battlefield 4. And with that, that's pretty much...
Sounds like a buy.
Yeah, it sounds like a buy. So before you play?
Before you play.
I gotta find
It sounds like a play.
You need a snazzy close.
Yeah. We do need a snazzy close. I just had
We need a
Andrew.
title for the show, too.
Yeah.
So,
But that's pretty much it. What do you guys think, chat?
yeah, if you have any title suggestions,
Yeah.
get them out. We'd love to hear them.
Or
And
another way to
actually
finish
name
things
the show.
off, like maybe just come out with a montage of videos and let people guess, or we do
Yeah,
some
I guess
gameplay
it'd
finales.
be easier to do a close.
You also need a
if
show
actually
name
knew
too,
the
right?
Name of the
That's
show.
what I was saying.
No,
Yeah.
that's
itself.
just a
Yeah,
title of
Show
the
close.
episode.
Yeah. At the controls.
controls.
We kind of did
Yeah.
that.
I bought it. Nah. The game fuse.
Well, let's. You want to close out the video? Then
Yeah, let's
we'll
close it out.
take
So-
a.
Take us out.
Taylor, take us out.
Andrew.
Okay.
It actually looks pretty good, man. That's Final Fantasy.
And
14.
this is DX9, by the way, folks.
That's sexy.
That is pretty nuts.
This is the kind of game I spent.
And this
way
guy
too
was
much
he was a
time on.
seasoned WoW guy, and now, and what convinced you to go to 14?
Just Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
I was just like, oh, Final Fantasy.
It looks really clean
Yeah,
for
this
DX9.
is 14. This is 14. This is the MMO.
The Realm Reborn, not
Yeah,
the first
Realm
one.
Reborn.
Yeah.
Yep. This is the Ifrit hard mode fight.
Oh, Ifrit.
Yeah.
Hit him in the
a lot
butt.
of stuff
Hit him
there.
in the butt.
Well, I'm off tech, so I have to
At
hit
their
him in the butt.
E3 booth, they just kept replaying this stage over and over and over again.
Was it just the 4-person or the 8-person?
No, they
This
were
is the
doing
8-person.
full-on 8-person.
Okay, yeah.
I thought you killed him. He just disappeared. I go, wow, that's
this is
a
for
crappy
PS3
like death animation.
and PC right now. I think next year is going to be PS4 also, and people who already have it for PS3 are getting a free upgrade.
Oh,
to PS4.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh wow, that is
free
that's
upgrade.
really
not
nice.
not the $9.99 deal that you keep hearing from other games, but yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I was
my
about
job
to
is
die.
stunning in this. So I'm not the one damage dealing. That's not my role as a tank.
You're doing a stunning job.
Well, it sucked because it kept on looking like the mob was speed casting, so it would do it really fast. I was like, is this input lag? What's going on? Hello?
What is the enemy doing right now? He's just changing position.
Basically, he does certain things at different health.
He charges through and kill you.
Yeah.
You could tell which players had actual experience because, like, the least experienced groups would just go in and they'd all start hacking.
Well, I'm actually talking to my buddy, so you'll probably only hear him, if anything, in the noise, if you can even hear it. But yeah, we're coordinating on voice chat because I was like, okay, well, I pubbed this and everybody's yelling at me. Yeah, because gaming wise, if you're not doing your job, you get torn up to pieces. So.
Oh man, anyone got GTA?
That should be the title. Angry Gaming Kid.
Where is it?
Oh no.
Oh, you said.
I'm just thinking of that video.
Angry Gaming.
Angry Gaming Kid.
It's awesome. Awesome job.
This is Final Fantasy 14: A Realm
Awesome
Reborn.
job, guys.
For fantasies.
This week at Play. Basement Gaming.
Priest looking
for raid.
No, it's Priest.